Hello, everybody. Welcome to Blast the Process 3. My name is Listar, and I'll be your host today. We are raising money for Save the Children here on ESA Marathon. We're raising Sega awareness as well by playing nothing but Sega games for the next 60 hours. So stay tuned. We're starting off with Cestpatou with Streets of Rage. Give us just a moment to get started. Hello, you two. How you doing?
We're doing fine. We are doing fine.
Great. Could you introduce yourselves, please?
Yes, so this is going to be the Streets of Rage run by Cestpatou, but I will be doing the commentary during this run, and maybe he's going to be dropping some knowledge bomb in betweens, but for the most, it's going to be just like that. So Cestpatou has been running this game for about 2 years, and I've been with him the whole time trying co-op with him, but I'm not that much of a single-player person, so we're going to try and go with it.
And just so y'all know, this is the third Blast the Process, and for each Blast the Process, Cestpatou has started us off each time. What's the word I'm looking for?
A tradition.
That is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. It's our tradition to start off with Streets of Rage, one of the best games on the Genesis.
One. I think it's the best game, but every runner thinks the same. So,
I mean, I could go ahead and talk for hours about Ristar, but that's not why we're here.
Ristar is a pretty good game too.
I think we could agree on like all of these.
Yes, they're all amazing games. It's an amazing console with amazing games.
Which, stay tuned. We'll be showing off Ristar and a bunch of other games. But first, Cestpatou here with Streets of Rage. Audio's all good. We are ready to get started whenever you two are ready.
Okay, so Cestpatou, you can go as soon as you are. So the time should start as soon as the feats of Blaze will hit the ground. And this is it. So for everyone that don't know what Streets of Rage is, it is one of the best brawler that you could find. It's a very, I'd say it's a technical brawler in which that you have to learn a lot of smaller technical movement things. So just make sure Cestpatou is going to be ready. So we're going to go as soon. Sorry.
So I will do a countdown because it's when it blaze it's the ground, but I will do a countdown just for you. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So
Good luck.
welcome. Thank you. So welcome to Streets of Rage. This game is probably one of my favorite games that I didn't know I knew. So Cestpatou started running, as I said earlier, 2 years ago, and we've been working on it. It's kind of a different game in which every level has its own auto scroller, and the way that you have to optimize time is to make sure that this auto scroller lasts as less time as possible. So Blaze is the fastest character according to her walk speed. So this is why she's the best character in this game for speedrunning, but some would say that Axel is also great because he has the most power out of all the three characters. So what you're going to see in this run is mostly because it is the hardest. So I'm going to talk about the difficulty first. Hardest and hard are extremely different from the other categories because it's the only categories in which the enemies have a different amount of HP. So in this game, HP is important because in the lower difficulties, 5 hits is the only thing that you need to do to beat an enemy. 5 hits also happens to be the amount of HP that one single knife hit does. So in the easier difficulties, you would see Pat do a lot of knife strats in which he would grab the knife and basically run half the levels through it. But in this one, it gets a bit harder because when you hit people with the knife, they're gonna drop on the floor and that's gonna lose time. So one of the preferred strats, especially for Blaze, is going to be the spin attack that you're gonna see. And to optimize the time, you're gonna see Cestpatou going as fast as he can through the auto scroller and then position the enemy so that the spin attack does as much damage as possible. So it is basically the biggest strat in this game, but it also gets a bit more complicated because, for example, some of the enemies are not able to get hit by jabs, and then you know how they get stunned when they get hit by jabs. Some enemies will just actually fall to the floor when you get hit by when they get hit by jab. So we're gonna have to weave through all of these little technical aspects, and right now we're gonna have the first boss coming up. Most of the boss, as you're going to see, well, all of them have some kind of weird trickery in which we can re-grab them and do damages using the grab and the pummeling. The pummeling does 2 damage per hit and is basically the best thing that you can do to them because every time that you re-grab them, you can do 2 pummels. So not only they're stunned while you're grabbing them, but you can do 4 damage per grabs. And re-grabbing them infinitely means that you can usually go through the RHP pretty fast. So in the level 2, which is a quite, I would say, similar to level 1, in which the enemies that are going to spawn are mostly going to be what we call the Garcias, which are the blue, orange-haired people, and the Signals, which are the yellow vest-wearing people. Through the game, we're going to see them change color as to indicate the different difficulty of enemies, but for the same, they were going to keep the same name and same behavior, maybe some little difference, but other than that, it's going to be pretty much the same. So the Electras, which are the girl wearing the whips, are actually one of the most hard enemies to beat in the game because not only they have a lot of HP, but they can hit you from really, really far. So Cestpatou here used the police to ensure that all the enemies would be dealt with extremely fast. In the lower difficulty, we would not do that. As I said, the lower HP on the enemies makes it way easier to just plow through them using normal strategies such as knives and normal combos. So again, we're gonna see in hardest more of these police calls as they can just wipe out the whole screen without any problems really. And so uh, in this run, there's going to be some very important gates, if you will. So these parts, also known as run killers for all of you speedrunners, are these extremely difficult and technical part in which Cestpatou is going to have to do pretty much frame perfect tricks over and over. So this game is really not the kind of forgiving game in which you have to do these frame perfect tricks a lot. So the first extremely hard gate is going to be the boss of this second level. We're gonna see this guy a lot, and he's we like to call him the Wolverine because he's wearing claws. But you're gonna see why he's difficult as soon as Pat tries to approach him. This guy can basically 1 or 2 shot you depending on your HP, and will do it almost frame perfect. So right now, what we're gonna see is also one of the first enemies that we see with the axe. The axe thrower people are going to be a priority for Patrick to destroy because they're gonna try to be passive, go in between you and behind the enemies. I'm sorry, and throw axe at you while you're trying to combo them, which is gonna make the combo impossible. So this right now is one of the hardest part of the game because every time that he tries to spin and re-grab this boss, he only has I think a 1 or 2 frame window to do so, and if he misses it, he just gets hit for three quarter of his HP, and then he's gonna lose about 20 to 25 seconds trying to beat the boss. So this is really good that he was able to get that, and we're gonna go into what I think is my favorite level in the game, the round tree. It's I think it's a beautiful scenery for Genesis. It has good music, and the enemies are really fun to bundle up and beat. So the only problem with this stage is sometimes you could experience lag when the downpour comes in. But other than that, it's I think it's the finest level in this game. Maybe not the funniest because for those who know Streets of Rage, the level 7 is going to be pretty fun. It is by far the best part of the run all the time because it's a bit of a break. It's not as technical and it's extremely funny. So going on with the stage 3, we're gonna see Cestpatou try and beat all these enemies that are now not the blue one that we've seen earlier, but now the green ones. So each enemy, when they go up in difficulties, are going to get more HP, and you see that the green guy with the knife, this guy, since he has a weapon in his hands, will also get a boost to his HP. So it means that when you want to do optimal combos, you really have to understand how much HP each of the enemy has, and it does scale with difficulty, color of the enemy, whether he has a weapon or not, and this can become really confusing because some of the combos that you're gonna do are going to be like 1 second long. So if you do them for nothing, like grabbing and doing two pummels instead of just two jabs, you're going to lose a whole second just because you did not know the HP level of your enemy. So right now, Cestpatou waited. He went around just to make sure that all the enemies would spawn. Because some of the enemies, when you're done with the auto scroller, will only spawn a couple seconds, or if you defeat some of the enemies that are already present. For this one, it was easier for him to just wait for them to come out, and then do the police and deal with the smaller Garcias that spawn afterward. So we're getting close to the third boss in one or two screens. The third boss is one of the easier boss in this game. He's called Abadidi, and I think I don't remember the exact position, but he was one of the best wrestler back in his time. So you're gonna see this guy a bunch because he's also used as sub-stage bosses in later stages. And also, when we're gonna get to the boss rush in level 8, he's gonna also be there to represent his stage. So now we're gonna get to the boss. You're gonna see it's this one is not as hard as the second level boss, not at all. It's a simple trick that you can learn in 5 minutes, and I think it's the first thing that I've learned to do in this game, and that made me think, wow, I can do this. I can definitely do this. So for those who don't know, I also run this game with Cestpatou in co-op mode. So co-op mode is a bit more different. There are usually more bosses. So in this case, there would be two Abadidis, one on each side of the stages. But for now, since he's alone, he has to deal only with the single Abadidi as well as the little Garcias that was with him. It doesn't look that hard because he did it pretty well, but this Garcia will always try to hit you when you're hitting the boss, and you have to know exactly how his AI is going to work to make sure that he goes around you when you're trying to hit the boss. So here we're getting, I think, one of the most unique level in this game because it has traps. So there's small holes in the ground in which you can throw the enemies, but the enemy can also throw you in. This can actually be used in a positive way because in hardest, as you can see, you just get hit for a lot of damage when the enemies hit you. So sometimes when you're in lower HP and you're waiting for the go, as you can see right now, it's a good thing to just throw yourself down the hole to regenerate your HP because, as you can see, you still have 5 lives, so it's more than enough, and it's not a problem if he dies. So also, when your character dies, it will make all of the little enemies on screen go and just fall off. So sometimes it's extremely frustrating because you're gonna lose 1 or 2 seconds, but when you're getting overwhelmed and you don't have your special police attack, it could be good just to make sure that you can get back into the middle of the stage. But yeah, as I told you earlier, this enemy is really, really difficult to deal with, and usually we deal with them with weapons, but he was trying to do the optimal and quick strat. So Blaze is one of the only characters that can hit him with his jab like that because she has the longest range in the game. Trying to do this with Axel and Adam would be extremely hard, and I would not advise to do so. Please take weapons when fighting jokers who throw axes. So one of the easiest screen on this stage, all the enemies, boom. We're going to use the police here, and all the enemies are going to drop down. I think there's going to be 1 or 2 that are going to spawn out afterward, but Pat can easily deal with them. But we're gonna get ready to get one of the hardest screen in the game to me that is not a boss. It's one of there's so many enemies, he's gonna get overwhelmed by them, but usually since he has a special right now, he's gonna be able to dispatch of them. I think he's gonna be able to, yeah, he's gonna be able to dispatch of them with the special without any problem. So you can see there's a lot of enemies spawning on screen, and wow, he actually dealt with it way faster than I think with normal strats. So nice job, Cestpatou. So this is actually extremely hard, and I'm surprised that he was able to do it so well. So good job. So right now we're gonna go ahead and fight one of the easiest boss again in this game, which is he has a lot of names and I don't remember exactly. Could you please? Bungo? Yeah, Bungo. So Bungo is a fire breathing gentleman, which is not that hard to beat because, as you can see, we're going to use that spin attack, that pivot attack in which we re-grab the enemies, but he doesn't have 2 frames to do it. He has like a whole second if he wants, so it's not really a problem. So we're going to get to the second gate that I've been talking about in this game. So this is round 5. Round 5, as I don't think it's the hardest stage wise, but it has probably the hardest boss in this game. So the twins, as we like to call them, are two girls that have extremely different AI. One is going to be aggressive, and the second one is going to be passive. If you do not get the trick on these, it can be extremely hard to get back to it. We've lost 1 or 2 minutes sometime trying to get them back because it's such precise strat. But you're not going to be able to see this if Pat gets it properly because it looks easy. Again, this game looks extremely easy when you're not the one doing it. But I can assure you, I have hundreds of hours and I can not beat the game on hardest. So right now, this is one of the dancing moments that we like. Oh no, yes, exactly. That's one of the dancing moment. Uh, it's one of the breaks because in this game, in this stage, there's going to be two screens in which we're going to beat the bad guys with a special. And as you can see, it's not really active or technical, so we like to dance a little bit. I mean, just appreciate the fact that we just called the police Ferrari on a boat. Let's just appreciate that, and I think this is what we're dancing now. So one of the rare use of the bat here, since I said these girls are extremely powerful, and when you try to hit them with a jab, sometimes they're just gonna collapse on the ground and make you lose a lot of time. So it's preferable to use item to get them knocked down. For those who want to get technical, the bat do 4 damages as well as the pipe. But the knife will be able to do a full 5 damage, which is why it's so useful in the earlier defense. So right now, it's as I said, stage 5 is not really the hardest one. There's not much thing to say about it other than a lot of ninjas, which are the white and blue enemies. These can get extremely difficult in the later stages of the game, as they're the only enemies that can just kill you instantly without you being able to do anything. They're just going to decide if they can beat you. So he's going to have to stay far and make sure that he hits them with the jab before he gets hit by them. So here's the second Abadidi as a sub-stage boss, as I said earlier. Not much of a big deal. You can deal with that. But this means that we're going to get closer and closer to the big boss. So let's talk about her. So this boss is really the hardest boss in the game. It will happen twice here and during the boss rush. And what Pat is going to do is there are multiple strats for which to beat these boss, but I think he's going to do the hardest one, but also the fastest one. And if I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong. You can only do this strat in this stage because in the later stages you have to do the traditional strat. Okay, so it's cool because you're going to be able to see both of these strats in action. And I think I can't even do the easy one. So every time I watch the hard one, I just get blown away. I'm like, how can you even do this? So this is the last screen in which we're gonna see the boss. Pat will have to just beat this Joker and ensure that the boss spawns normally, but that shouldn't be a problem. And here we go. So I'm gonna give him a bit of silence for this. Okay, so now that he missed, he's gonna try the backup strats. So this is the strat that should be the one done toward the end. Okay, that was beautifully done. Now that he has it, he's back in sync and he's going to be able to do it the whole way. So even if he missed the strat, he definitely did not lose much time because he was able to get it on the first try afterwards. So maybe only a 5-second loss, which in this game happens all the time. Every single screen can make you lose 5 seconds if you get hit at the wrong time. So it's still a pretty good boss. So we're gonna get to one of the most frustrating level, the round 6. Round 6 has a lot of environment problem. So there's gonna be some, as you can see, these conveyor belts. There's gonna be some hydraulic presses, and you really want to try to avoid getting hit by any of these by any of these hydraulic press because not only it makes you lose time, but usually you get swarmed pretty fast as soon as you hit the ground on the hardest difficulty. So as you can see, this Electra, the black Electra here, he had to beat using the grab strategy because this one is 100% sure to be falling on the ground if he uses a regular jab as he does with most enemies. So he's gonna, I think, see two or three of them in this stage. So we're gonna see him. You can easily recognize them because he's gonna beat them with the grab strat. But not all of the black Electras will be falling when he hits them. It's a difference in between everyone that spawns as its own AI and like behavior, and these he had to just know when they would spawn to ensure that he does not hit them with that, because they're gonna stay on the ground for like a whole 3 or 4 seconds, and every time they get hit by a jab, it's another 3 or 4 seconds. So for the substage boss, it's another of the bungo enemy, really not that bad, but we're gonna get the third big gate on the level 6, which is going to be two of the enemies like we saw in the second stage. So remember that guy that has to be done with frame perfect consecutive inputs? There's going to be two of them at the same time. And that makes it usually it's the most difficult in casual runs, I'd say, because as you'll see, every single one of the two enemies will be able to just one shot you. And getting one shot while there's two enemies that each require something like 30 to 40 hits to die, it is extremely difficult. But I think Pat has a strat up his sleeve, and we're going to be able to see that in action soon. So, coming up is one of the other I'm sorry if I'm losing my word. We're gonna have one of the other substage that really looks like the fifth stage, in which there was the fourth stage, I'm sorry, in which there's gonna be really a lot of enemies trying to swarm Cestpatou, and this substage has maybe to be done with the police, but maybe we're gonna see Cestpatou again just plow through with the normal strat, because the police has a set time to happen, and usually saves time when you're not sure if you're gonna get the perfect strat. But when you get that one perfect juicy placement as he did in level 4, you can easily discard the enemies without losing much time, and you actually save time like 2 or 3 seconds on the police. So this is very good. So that right now was I don't know if it's a glitch or a feature, but when you get the special grab and then get hit by the press, you can actually one-shot enemies. And the enemies, the Joker that has a white vest is actually the enemy with the most HP, I think, in the game. So it's really good that you can get him in the first try like that. So you're gonna see Pat activating that press as much as he can, so it doesn't happen while he's actually fighting the enemies. So I think we're coming up on the boss. Are we?
Yeah.
Yep. So this is going to be an extremely hard boss, and again, I'm gonna give Pat a bit of silence for this because I don't even understand how he can do it anyway. So I'm gonna try and get some knowledge for myself, maybe. So. In the next stage, as we said, we're gonna have a lot of fun, and but so I think Cestpatou is gonna try to talk more and interact more, because we both think it's the coolest stage in the game. So
Yeah, right.
you're gonna see just why. So it's gonna be a 3-minute almost break. So as you can see, he does a lot of damage. Oh, great! That is great. Okay, he was able to glitch the boss, because the enemies, when you grab other enemies, they will usually change their behavior, because they don't. It would be extremely hard if everyone would be swarming you. So Cestpatou did an extremely good time for this boss. It's actually insane how good that was. So congratulations. So round 7. So we just want to say that we're sorry for any cleaning personnel that has to deal with the aftermath of this stage, because it is not our fault. It is the fault of the crime syndicate ran by Mr. X. What we're going to do now, actually, like if we're going to get more technical, is we're going to throw people off the ledge. That's it. Throwing people will have them die instantly, and this is extremely important in this stage, as in this difficulty, I'm sorry, because everyone has a lot of HP. If you have to hit them for 5 seconds, it's bad, but if you can just throw them back and see them drop, it's even better. The only gruesome thing I'd say is the fact that we're going to go up really high. this elevator will not stop, and it's going to go like 25 floors up, so these guys are going to be birds for a couple of seconds. So he has to take them all one by one because as soon as he gets swarmed, throwing people gets extremely difficult like that because ninjas and other enemies with long range will be able to hit him as soon as he throws them. So he really has to understand like the AI. So this is why he just waited there. He grabbed the enemy and then he waited because he knew that if he would throw him instantly without him acting first, he would just get hit as soon as he would throw him. So now I think. So Cestpatou, why is this your favorite stage?
Because it's the simplest. You don't have to act. You just have to prove that you are better than the AI. So you just have to throw them into your punches and to stun them and just throw them off the elevator. It shows how experienced you are. That's why it's my favorite stage.
I actually really agree with that. When we watch other streamers and speedrunners run this game, usually they're gonna have to. They're trying items here. They would trade the bat and the knives, and they're just using items to just beat the enemy. And while it's not a bad strat because there's less chance you get hit due to your increased range, it is not as fast. So Pat is going to use the bat here just because the ninjas as well as the Electra are a very difficult combo to beat because she has a long range and also does he. So using the bat is just a safer strat than just throwing them. So that was a great jump here that he did to evade the whip. And I think this is going to be the last sub-stage of stage 7 coming up. A lot of throwing and a lot of batting. So a bit of dancing too. We usually try to do a lot of fun stuff when playing co-op. In this stage, we're trying like oh, see, this is one of the good thing about this game. They can't throw as high as you can, but they can definitely throw you off the stage too. So you have to be careful with that. And actually, you can throw yourself off the stage if you are not if you're not careful. Because while throwing enemies back, sometimes you can glitch through the barrier and fall with them. So that's something that Pat has learned not to do with the months and years of experience. So we are getting into the last stage, but also the longest stage in the game, in which we're gonna have the boss rush. We're gonna see the bosses in pretty much the same order that we've seen them until now. So we're gonna start with the Boomerang Brother, which is like the first boss that we've seen earlier, and then we're gonna get the classic second boss, which is going to be again extremely hard, and is basically the so in this level, there's going to be a lot of like difficult gate, as I said earlier. There's going to be the second boss. There's going to be the refight of the twins, which is I think the hardest one, and there's just going to be Mr. X. Mr. X actually used not to have a real strat to actually do extremely fast, and Pat came up I think with the strat right now. No. Okay, it's been done before. I am sorry, and I'm gonna try to credit the person that did that. I do not want to take the credit for this. So yeah, this game is great because there's a lot of people that, even though they're not doing a lot of speedruns and posting a lot of runs, they're trying to help with the mechanics and they're trying to understand the game better. People like Gutazor, which is a good friend of ours that has been playing, and he's been developing other characters too, which is a great thing because Adam, which is one of the less played character, can also be fun to play, and he has its quirk. He has a different aerial attack and everything. So this game is really more of a. It started to be more of a community effort in the past days, and it's the past days, sorry, the past months, and it's really a great thing to see. So. Going into the stage 8, you're going to see a lot of the enemies that we've seen before, but now they're all on their most powerful form. So the Garcias are going to wear the red jackets. You're going to see Signal wearing either green or purple jackets. The Electras were mostly going to be, I think it's the first time we're going to see the best Electras, which are light green, if I remember. Okay, so yeah, so this is the only time we're going to see light green Electras, which is one of the enemies with a lot of HP, and that you again have to deal with in a slightly different manner. So here's the second level boss. Exactly, so he just missed the 2-frame window, and that made it so that he got hit. But he got a pretty good regrab on it, and only lost maybe 2 or 3 seconds, so it is pretty good for this boss. So there's also a second strat on this boss that is way safer, in which you arch around the enemy using A. The problem is, instead of spinning and regrabbing super fast, you have to wait about a second or like 0.7 seconds in between each grab. So that makes it so it doesn't look that slow, but when you have to arch over him like 7 or 8 times, you do end up losing 5 or 6 seconds using the strategy. So this is the signal room. It's the room in which all of these signal appear, and you can see that they like to slide. So there's multiple behavior that these guys can have. Some of them will try to stay back and then slide to you, and then some other ones are going to come right into you and then grab you. So Pat, the problem with that is that he has to deal with both of them. So he has to deal with the close one, and then as soon as the signal goes back, he has to know that it's going to slide and either willingly get grabbed, as you saw. He's going to get willingly grabbed by the signal to get thrown and not get hit by the slide, or he's going to have to evade the slide. So here's Abadidi again. Not that much of a deal when it comes to bosses. But I think that the next stages, the sub stages, are going to get harder because we're going to see more and more of these Electras and the ninjas that are going to appear. And the ninjas in black will basically kill you one shot if you get hit by a kick. So it's extremely important for Cestpatou to keep his range and not get hit by them, because again, not only he would lose a life, but every enemy will have to fall on the floor, and he's going to have to wait for them to come back up. So that loses a lot of time, and if every time you get hit by a kick that happens, it can really just adds up to like 3 or 4 times these 5-second loss. So here's the bongo again, not really too hard because we have a lot of time to adjust.
And now I will just use another strat. It's the most difficult one, and usually I don't go for that, but it's a marathon. Let's go for it.
Yes, this is one of the great thing about Pat. He likes to go all in, and this is one of the best thing about it because every time you watch, you're watching and you're like, please, you can get this, you can get this. So as you can see, this is the hardest sub-stage in the game. There's like all the hardest enemy. You can see the light green jacket Joker, light green jacket Electras, and black and red ninjas. And these guys all really hit hard. They're fast, and they, as you can see, he's gonna have to like also hit the the burning sticks out of the air while hitting them, which is extremely hard. So on this substage, you can see the door leading to the boss, but again, we're gonna have the twins to beat. The twins are the keeper to the Mr. X, and definitely the hardest boss in this game. So again, let's see what Pat can do with this. So, yeah, so I can also explain what this strat is all about. So one of the good thing about this game is that you can actually grab more than one people at the same time if their hurt bucks collide when the grab happens. So it is not that easy because the two of them don't have the same behavior, and you have to trick both of them to come and see you. Like this, but then it always has to be in sync. As soon as they're not in sync anymore, Pat is going to have them like jump above him and then do a little circle around him just to make sure that they're in sync. But now that it's done, we're gonna go with Mr. X. So
I want to mention that a special mention right now for a sprint guy that have come with that strat 5 years ago, before everyone else was running this game. So shout out to him. Thanks you so much for what you've done to that game.
yeah, the Sprint God was the one person to be. We were looking at his run, is like, wow, this guy is good. We have to make sure to implement what he does, and really, I think it, especially for Blaze, but all around, this guy just really helped the community have these advanced technique for substages. And now the final boss. Wow, nice job. So now he's gonna have to grab them at the exact same time so that the Garcias think that they can't attack because they don't want to hurt their boss, right? So he's gonna try to grab him and then dance around like that. Yeah, Mr. X does a lot of damage, basically 1 or 2 shotting you with his gun, but then Pat really has to get it back in sync, as with most bosses when you miss them. So okay, Mr. X is now dead, and time should be coming up.
When the screen turns black, and we'll see how much time is underestimated, and then we'll maybe show something else.
Yeah.
Time.
So yeah, we have a great glitch that we want to show that is.
GG.
Thank you.
How much time I
So this is one of the. Could you please tell us how much time we have, just to make
We
sure
have
we have
about 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left?
2 minutes left. We have time.
Yeah, we have time.
Go ahead.
So it's gonna be pretty much the only out of bound glitch that is important in this game. Uh, so the way that it works is that when you go out of bound, well, only for the last level. When you go out of bound on the last level, it basically ends the game. Okay, we're just gonna reset the level.
So we are using a cheat code to go straight to stage 8. We need 2 players for that.
But he's gonna be doing both of the players because it's way cooler that way.
Okay, tab.
Tab.
So I've put the cheat code, and I need to access stage 8. I need to kill both of. I need to kill someone and still grab someone. So that is the technical part about it.
So basically, this strat only works, as I said, on stage 8 because what happens when we do it on other stages?
Because you restart the stage if you do it on another stage, because you can't escape stage 8.
So he's gonna try and spawn the exact enemies that he need, and then he's gonna damage the second player in order, the first player I think with the second one, or yeah, second player, just in order to have him die in one hit from an enemy. So yeah, one combo from the enemy. So it has to be done pretty much the perfect amount of HP, otherwise it's not gonna work. So it's gonna be easy to see if it works because all of a sudden he's just gonna win. So. Let's see this.
I don't want to mess up because it's a hard trick. Oops. Damn, I've missed. So it's basically just grabbing him, vaulting over him, flipping over him, and if he gets hit with the last punch, you will still have your stance, your grab stance, and you can vault over someone even if he's still not there because he has died. So you will vault, flip over him when you will respawn from the top, and you will go out of bound. But it's with 2 controllers, it's very hard to do so because in co-op it's easy because someone else controls the other guy. But
Is
when
that
you're doing it alone, it's very hard.
Okay, so sorry, what would you say?
is that the speedrun strat for co-op runs?
It is one of the speedrun strats. So there is both glitchless and with glitches, and we have done this strats for both of the categories. So,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, it's one of the cool quirk of this game, and it shows that even when you do a very solid game with good code, you can still find a way to glitch it up somewhere.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you both, by the way, so much for the run. That was great. Great job.
thank you. We really love being here. So, as we said, we want to shout out the Streets of Rage community for all that they've done and trying to help us find out some new strats. For those, I'm going to let Pat say it.
And I want also to shout out all Blaster Process because you're all good persons. And I have to say that the follow runners is playing Street of Rage 2. It's Sonic Man, so please be attentive to his run. He's a fantastic guy, and just stay there. It will be awesome.
Stick around, everyone, with Streets of Rage 2 in just a moment.
Thanks and have a good day.